All right, so good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us on the breakout session for getting ready for Android Enterprise and Chrome OS. And as you guys have heard even on the keynote, right, Google and Citrix have a great partnership, right? Spans multiple products and technologies from cloud to Android Enterprise to Chrome. So today I have the pleasure with me, I have our partner from Google, Richard Ache, who is the Strategic Partner Manager for Chrome Enterprise. So, Richard, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Richard Ache. Those of you who have been to more than one session, I recognize a few faces. You know what I do. So we're all going to stand up real quick, because this is just stand up. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Do it every time. It always works. And worst case scenario, you get a bit of a stretch. We're going to do some corporate yoga. Here we go. Reaching up to the sky. I think you breathe in and then down. Arm across. Arm across again. Get into it. Come on. Shake it out. Okay, got some blood flowing. Okay. Foot to the back of the head. Here we go. All right, that was it. We're done. And I reused that entire routine and the joke, so we'll be back all week. I work with Citrix. Now it's been with Citrix for over 3 years. I've worked with a lot of partners. And one thing that differentiates Citrix in general, not just in their product area, but just in general across all partners I've ever worked with, is Citrix, they're an innovator. They've been around for a long time, and Citrix deals with pretty old technologies, like the stuff that they get into a virtual app and desktop. Some of that's really old, but they're an innovator. They've always been an innovator, and so they've been with Google all throughout this journey. So starting off in 2011, they launched Citrix Workspace on Chrome OS, then called Receiver, right after we launched Chrome devices. And so they launched the Receiver on Chrome right after we launched. We launched in May 2011. They're right with us in August 2011 with the first version on a Chrome device, which really was the first enterprise app on a Chrome device. They did that again with Android, with G Suite, and with Google Cloud. Each product that we launched, they were really, if not the first, one of the first 3 or 4 enterprise solution providers that decided it made sense to integrate with our technology. They were just consistently ahead of the curve. And that's one thing that's really great with Citrix is I know if we're going to launch a new solution, they're going to be right there with us, working with our PMs, giving us guidance on how this is going to work for enterprises. Because they know the space really well, obviously. They've been around for a long time, and they have 98% of the Fortune 500 companies. So they know what they're doing. The second thing that's really great about working with them is I can trust that when I get in a scenario where I have, and I'm sure you're familiar with this scenario, I have multiple different vendors, okay? Like me and Citrix, as Google, Citrix, and another partner, I can guarantee if something breaks, we are not going to do any finger pointing. So the concept of one throat to choke, we've all heard and seen before, right? We have multiple different vendors all sort of pointing at each other as their customer goes through these endless support cycles where they log a ticket with vendor A, then vendor B, vendor C, and all of them just close out the ticket and point to another vendor. This never happens with Citrix. What happens instead is, regardless of how big the opportunity is, they might have no money at stake. They just have a customer that they care about, and they care about all their customers. When I have a problem, I get right onto the PM. Her name's Sona. She's based in Bangalore. Sona responds to me same day, if not same minute, depending on whether it's daylight hours in Bangalore. And we will get on a call with a customer immediately. She'll pull in all the engineers that we need. An escalation is it's like talking to someone down the hall. It feels like we're both in the same startup. We're in 2 really big companies, separated by half a world. But that kind of accountability and reliability and customer commitment, our products, when we go into a customer, every product, they always want some other feature, and there's always something else that they want to see in the roadmap. But they can see the way we work together, that they can trust that we're going to get there, and if something's not working, we're going to fix it. We're going to collaborate and be accountable. And that I can't say about every vendor I've ever worked with. So with that, I'll kind of hand it back over to Chetan. He's going to talk to you more about what we're doing, particularly with Citrix and Android Enterprise.
Awesome. That was great, Richard, and it goes the same ways, right? I mean, even when it's Android Enterprise or Chrome OS, if we have any challenge, Google is always there to help us out, and so we can service our customers better. So that's awesome to have a great partner like you. So with that, let's talk about Android Enterprise. So just with the show of hands, how many of you guys have already started your migration towards Android Enterprise? How many of you guys, anybody already started on Android Enterprise? Awesome. How many of you guys are still on DA, device admin mode? OK, a few of them. All right, so let me just cover what is Android Enterprise. So Android Enterprise is basically a modern management framework for Android devices. And why is it really good? Because it has a whole bunch of APIs that makes things flexible for you, right? So when it comes to management, they offer multiple modes, for BYOD versus company-owned devices. From a security standpoint, they have Google Pay Protect, which makes your apps secure. And also, they give you a wide range of choice. There are multiple OEMs. You have the premium devices that could be managed with Android Enterprise. And then you have, on the other hand, the ruggedized devices that also could be managed with Android Enterprise. So flexibility across management, security, and choice. All right. So a lot of you who are on DA are going towards Q have definitely this question in mind. What is happening with Android Q, right? So let me just cover this thing up. So yes, Google has announced that starting Q, some of the device admin APIs are going to be deprecated, which means that they will not work. But when do they not work, right? That is the main part. So there are two things for this. One is when Secure Hub, which is your DPC, is upgraded to Android Q API level. And two is when the device actually is running Android Q. So you will ask me, like, what is Secure Hub on right now? So right now, Secure Hub is on API level Android O. We are planning to go to Android P in November. And we will be going to Android Q most probably in the second half of 2020. All right, so hopefully those answers your questions on what is going to happen with Android Q. So let me cover, I've answered this thing about Android Q. So let's just look at what are the different modes that Citrix supports, right? So if you look at the use case of BYOD, here you have your users bringing in their own personal devices. They want one device. They want to use it for, your corporate purposes as well as for personal purposes. So this is a really good mode. And what happens in this mode is, when you enroll into Work Profile, a separate container is created. So that way, the IT admins are only going to manage the work container, leaving the personal side private for your own, for the user's personal apps, pictures, or whatever. So this is something that the users feel that I know that my personal stuff is private and nobody's managing that. So we support that profile as well, which is called Work Profile. And for the use cases where you are providing company-owned devices to your users, right? In this case, we also support the fully managed, where the IT admin is actually managing the whole device. And also, a lot of our customers have this use case where they have a kiosk, right? Or a single use device, right? So we support the fully managed dedicated device too. That is currently all available to you guys on Citrix Endpoint Management. And then, of course, the next question would be, what about COPE? And I know Google changed the names recently on that one, but now it's called Fully Managed Device with Work Profile. So what exactly is this, right? So think about your Work Profile, but on a company-owned device, right? So you're providing a company-owned device to your users, but you're actually creating a Work Profile and putting those policies focused on the Work Profile side, and also allowing your end user to have their personal application, pictures, or whatever on the personal side. But just in case, if the device is lost or whatever, you still have the ability to wipe the device on the COPE mode. So that's the difference between the different modes that Android provides currently. All right, so now that I've shown you the different modes we also that Citrix supports, I'll just show you how easy it is to set up Android Enterprise. Right? It's really simple. So what you do is go in your console settings, enable Android Enterprise. It'll connect you to the Google Play, put in your credentials, select Citrix as your EMM partner, and you're done. That's it. There's nothing else to be done. It's that simple. And once you do that, then I'm going to show you how you can enroll. And enrollment is also pretty simple process, right? So I have a demo that will be running while I'm talking. So when it comes to work profiles, as I said, this is for your users bringing in their own device. It's pretty simple. I showed you can just bind endpoint management to Google. You create the work profile policies and let the user download and install Secure Hub. Once they enter their credentials, that's it. You will see a separate container being created, and now you're just managing that container, and the personal side remains personal. So I'll just go through that. You're going to enter your password again. And once you do that, it's going to start creating or start running through the process of creating that work profile. So you select yes. I know it's going through, but it's pretty quick. And once you confirm that, and you should see the work profile being created. And you can see over there, the batch over there means that those are protected apps. And you see that this is in the workspace, separate from your personal side. All right. So the next one is how do you enroll devices in a fully managed mode, right? So Citrix supports all the available options that the platform provides, right? Whether you want to enroll a fully managed device using the EMM token, which is AFW#ZenMobile. You want to do it via QR code, NFC bump, or zero touch. All of them are supported by us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a demo on how easy it is for the QR code side, right? So again, very simple process. You just bind CM to Google, you create a QR code, and send that QR code to your user, right? So if you look at the demo, right, you will see that I did not even have to enter any of my credentials, right? And it just went through. You might notice in this over here that there is I'll be entering the Wi-Fi or selecting Wi-Fi, but actually there is a JSON snippet available where you can also enter your Wi-Fi SSIDs, and that will not even ask you that question of the Wi-Fi. So as you see that I went through really quickly, and I've already enrolled in a managed profile. All right. So now that you've seen all the benefits of Android Enterprise and everything that Citrix provides, it's time for thinking about, if you haven't already migrated, on how do I migrate. And I would say, Richard, the Android Enterprise Migration Bluebook is a pretty awesome document that goes into details and shows you, the step-by-step migration process. But what I'll do over here is I'll just go and see. I'll tell you what we recommend for you guys to do. So the first thing I would say that if you've not already done it, all these modes and features are available right now on our endpoint management solution. So please go ahead and try it. And as you analyze, your move or migration to Android Enterprise, look at your current device admin features and see how they compare against Android Enterprise. That's something that you need to do to see what features you're going to get with Android Enterprise. Once you do that, you want to determine what management mode and what mode of enrollment you want to do, right? So let's say in the scenario that you have users getting their own devices, then yes, of course, you want to do work profile because that suits best. And just note, this is actually really good, is when you move from DA to Android Enterprise, in work profile, you do not need to factory reset your device. All you need to do is re-enroll into work profile, and you're done. But if you have, corporate-owned devices that you're going to give it to your users, then that's a platform requirement that you need to factory reset, and then you can select the mode that suits you best, whether it's QR code, the DPC identifier, NFC or zero touch. And I just showed you how simple it is, especially with the QR code side. And also, it's also important to understand is when you go through your feature sets, what minimum OS version you guys want to have, right? So just take the example of the QR code that I showed you, right? With Android 9, they have embedded the QR code reader within the OS, right? So you don't have to go outside and download one and then scan the QR code. Now, if this is something that you want, then your minimum OS version would be Android 9. That's just an example. I'm sure you might or might not want that, but that's how you determine what your minimum OS version you want to have, right? And once you get all that, then you are going to plan about your proof of concept and deployment and your device strategy. right? So what we recommend that any new devices that you're getting in, based on your refresh cycle, enroll them or manage them with Android Enterprise. That makes absolute sense. But if you already have devices that are running in DA, don't worry. We're still supporting you on DA. And whenever new devices come in, you can migrate at that point of time. All right. So now it's talk, I mean, a lot of you guys have already been on Android Enterprise, and you're thinking about, OK, what is the roadmap features? What's new coming in? So let me start with OEM config and Samsung Knox service plugin. So the question is, what is OEM config, right? So OEM config is basically a standardized architecture that the OEMs can use to add APIs on top of the Android platform, right? So the OEMs definitely have more APIs that they provide on top of Android, and Android actually allows that for all the different OEMs. So what they do is they have this app. In the case of Samsung, they have the Knox service plugin. You push that app. Once that and the app is installed on the device, and then you set the policies through Citrix Endpoint Management. And I'll go through a demo for that as well. But for this one, the best thing about this is that it provides zero-day support. And what I mean by zero-day support is previously what used to happen is these OEMs would create these APIs, then they would come to us, we would implement them, and then it would be available to you guys. Now, you don't have to wait for that. As soon as they're ready with their APIs, it's part of OEM config, and all you have to do is go to your console and enable that device policy that you want, the new one. It's that simple. So it's a pretty good feature. So with that, let me go through the demo. So as on the demo, what I'll do is first I'll go and approve the Knox service plugin. You can go to Manage Google Play, and you know that most of the apps you have to approve through Manage Google Play. That is the security that's added in there. And then on your EMM console, you'll go to Public App Store, select Android Enterprise on the left. And I have to go back there. I'm just going to go get the package name because I would need that later on. And this is important. Just notice this, because this will be important when I show my next demo, right? So I'm just going to put in whatever name, Knox service plugin. You can choose the different app category that you want to put that in. And that's where I put the package name in there. And here it is. And then I'm going to assign, the delivery group, whatever you have, you can assign that delivery group over here. Music was missing, so we needed that music, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Talking about Samsung and Samsung rings. New feature, yeah. All right, so then what you do is you add a new device policy for manage config, right? When you select that, you already added the app for Knox service plugin, and you just select that. Once you do that, you can give it any policy name that you want. And then as you can see that, for some of the policies, you will need a Knox premium license key. And that's very well documented on the Samsung side of what policies would need that. But they have a whole bunch of policies available from device owner, for work profile, to even DEX, right? And for this demo, I've just chosen device owner policies. And I'm going to select device restrictions. And you can see there's a whole bunch of options available to you to set that. And I'll just scroll it down to show you. And I'm just going to choose Bluetooth just for the demo purposes. But as you can see, there's a lot of ones, especially on the USB exception side. So this just shows you the amount of options that you guys have. And when that's done, I'm going to select the delivery group, and I'm done. That's it. And if I've spoken to the guys at Samsung, and they said that this is one of the best solutions that they've ever seen from any vendor. And you can confirm that when you go there. So, all right. So the next one, which is coming soon, is programmatic app approval. So you saw that previously when I was trying to approve the KSP app. I had to go into the managed Play Store. With this one and this change coming in, every approval is going to happen within the console. There is no need for you guys to go to a separate console to go and approve any app. So that improves your admin experience. Imagine the number of apps that you guys have. And as you can see, this is Slack. I put in the package name. I don't have to go anywhere. This is implemented by adding an iframe within our console. So this is really simple. No back and forth, all done. So this is follow the same process and select your delivery group, and you're done. Here you go. All right. So the next one is similar, but it's for MDX apps. And something that you guys, if you're already, let me see, yeah. If you're already publishing MDX apps for Android Enterprise, you'll realize that there is no option for Android Enterprise right now. We already added that. We're adding that. Right? So you see now we have Android Enterprise. And even for MDX apps, what you have to do is you go and select your MDX file. Once you do that, it's going to ask you, same. You don't have to get out to approve anything within the console itself. It's going to ask you, this app is not approved. Do you want to approve it? Say, yes, I do. And once you approve it, you're done. You don't have to go out anywhere to do anything. And then you can set your MDX policies right there in the same page. So let's say device encryption. And then you're done. That's it. It's pretty simple. That's good? You can. Awesome. All right. But I'm not done as yet, because we have more and more features coming in. And as you will notice with all these demos and the features that are coming in, we're really focusing on Android Enterprise and improving our feature set, throughout this upcoming year and throughout the next 2 quarters, right? So as I mentioned about COPE, COPE is going to be coming in soon, right? So that is something that I already spoke about as a mode, which will enable you to have a company-owned device, but give the flexibility of having, personal and a work container. Then the next one is advanced keyguard features. So this is also something that we are bringing in soon. So for example, you want to disable any keyguard features, like notifications, for example. You will be able to do that. So that's also coming in soon. Then I know a lot of you guys, some of you guys might have these requirements that, hey, you know what? I want to have all the apps enabled. I just don't want I just don't want to go to Managed Play Store and selectively approve some apps, because I provide the flexibility to my users to have all the apps. That's fine, no worries. We're going to enable that. So with the click of a button, you'll be able to enable all apps. Or if you don't want, you can actually go and selectively approve apps. So that functionality is also going to be there. And also, some of you guys might want some system apps, like Samsung Camera or whatever that might be. Right? So we'll have this ability where you can actually go and enable certain system apps, whether it's in your work profile or your fully managed profile. So that's an additional feature that is coming you, again, improving your admin experience and giving you the flexibility based on the requirements that you have for your users. And I'm not done as yet. This is important. So what we are moving towards is having Android Enterprise as default, for any new customers or new enrollments, right? Why are we doing this? Because right now, if you see, the way we enroll you into Android Enterprise is based on your resource. If you have either an app or a policy for the Android Enterprise platform, you get enrolled into Android Enterprise. What we want to do here is we want to, by default, enable enrollments in Android Enterprise. But I'm sure, don't worry, DA mode is still supported. So if you want DA mode, you will still be able to do that. But by default, we will push on Android Enterprise. And this is one thing where we will be sending you communications way in advance, of how this is going to work. And if you're on DA mode, what is expected out of you. So expect some communications coming out, especially around this feature change. And finally, alpha, beta tracks. So a lot of you have, I'm sure a lot of you guys have some of your private apps that you provide to your end users, right? And you guys want to test out certain apps for a certain set of users versus give the production one to to a different set of users. So we are going to be enabling that too. Within the console, you can select whether it's an alpha, we will see whether it's an alpha or beta track, and then you can select that and put it on, and send it to the delivery groups that you want to send it to. So this is also going to be enabling you, especially when you have a lot of private apps and you want to test it out within your organization itself. All right. I'm tired speaking about all those features that are coming in. My mouth's running dry. So far, so looks good on Android Enterprise? Yeah? Awesome. All right, so let's move on to Chrome, right? So even when it comes to Chrome, we support multiple Chrome OS policies, right? As of today, there are a lot of policies to manage your Chrome devices. And again, it's really simple for you to even set up Google Chrome, right? So again, the same way you go to settings, select Google Chrome, enter your information up there. That will take you to the Google admin page through device management, walk through the process, and you're done. And you have a bunch of policies available for you to implement on your Chrome device. So with that, Richard, do you want to talk about how this fits into the whole workspace?
Yeah, so to put this into context, and it actually helps you better understand why Citrix and Google are working so closely together and have been for a long time. So how many of you have seen, let's say, PJ Hall's presentation recently on Citrix Workspace? Yeah, good few of you, where we've talked about, PJ talked about the fact that Workspace is now not just about virtual apps. And I had to hear that message a few times before that really broke in for some reason. He's like that Citrix no longer sees its business as being really the vast majority of their users being virtual app and virtual desktop users. In fact, he even phrased it, that's more like kind of a smaller chunk of the market, like maybe 30% of the user base. The 70% that are not all in virtual apps are going to be using SaaS apps. And Citrix wants to be that secure digital perimeter around all of that, whether it's any content, any device, any app, on any cloud. And so that's why we've been collaborating so closely together, because across our entire portfolio, Citrix has key integrations. So in my area, in Chrome OS, Citrix, we have our own, obviously have Citrix Workspace on Chrome OS, but also Citrix Endpoint Management was one of the first partners to use our APIs so that you could have a single pane of glass to manage all your Chrome devices. So if you're not using Citrix Endpoint Management, then you're going to a different console. So you're going to a Chrome Management Console. And a lot of IT admins, they don't really want to have multiple consoles for obvious reasons. For training reasons, inconvenience, just productivity for that IT person. They really want one place to go, and Citrix Endpoint Management provides that across now any device, including Chrome OS. And then in terms of content, where we hook in with Citrix are things like Google Drive and G Suite in general. So being able to access all of your apps, from all apps can access your Google Drive folders directly from Citrix Workspace. And then across all devices, all the different Chrome form factors, and of course all the different Android form factors, and really any other form factor out there in the market from any company. And then tying this all together with analytics. So what Citrix is starting to do is surface content inside Workspace to help the sort of routine tasks that normally you would see come up in those individual apps, whether it's G Suite or Workday or whatever the app is. That's starting to come to the surface so you can do one click within Workspace. Just make yourself a lot more productive, make your users more productive. And endpoint management in particular, so we exposed these APIs into Chrome Management. Citrix integrated with those APIs, and that creates the single point of glass for your users. So now you can therefore be much more proactive and lower that total cost of ownership because you only have one place to go to manage all devices in your network. And so when you're pushing out policies, when you're pushing out apps to your Chrome devices, all that can go through Citrix Endpoint Management.
All right. No, that was a great update. And just to wrap up, there's a great partnership between Citrix and Google. And if I have any questions for Richard, all I do is look around and say, hey, Google.
Yeah.
And I get the answer. So,
hey, Chetan.
Yeah. Hey, Citrix.
I don't really,
Yeah. All right.
I got to work on my, assistant voice. It doesn't really sound quite right.
All right. No, it's a great partnership, as Richard had mentioned, across different products, right? Also, a key takeaway that you guys have is we support multiple modes And of course, the COPE mode is coming soon. There are a lot of policies that are currently available to you guys. And as you saw, a lot more in the pipeline, right? Again, our recommendation is if you are on DA, start thinking about migrating to Android Enterprise. And also, it's just not Android, but we also have multiple policies available on Chrome OS, as we just showed you guys. So with that, thank you very much, and we're open to questions.
I have one.
Sure.
The deprecation of the device admin, it requires, it's just to clarify, it requires both secure hub to be Android Q and Android Q on the phone, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's absolutely, yeah. That is true. And that's actually, that's available in the Android Migration Blue Book, and they clearly state that is.
I'm only asking because the slide said and you said or.
Okay, I said and, that's it. It has to be two.
They both have to be.
Yep, sorry. Sure. You just got to say, hey, Google.
Not a Google Maps or YouTube question, I hope. This is right in my wheelhouse? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just want to check if with Android Zero Touch, are the Samsung Galaxy devices are supported now?
I would have to double check with you because my space is really Chrome OS.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd have to double check. Yeah.
One more question around that. So in Android now, like whenever you're doing, when you're installing the workspace profile, and you do like a prompts where it just ask you to allow it. There were some, I heard that with the Android Q probably that would go away. Is that still the case, or that's something like that?
So you're saying, I can try that. So you're saying that the whole, creation of the work profile through Android Q, all those different prompts would go away.
Yeah, I heard that. I was on the Microsoft conference and I heard about Android Q and so is it still in pipeline or we'll probably see similar experience with Android Q as well?
Right. So the expectation would be that the steps, for example, that Chetan showed would go away. Okay, I'm not exactly familiar. I wasn't confirming. I was just checking with you. Not as far as I know, but I would need to check.
Yeah.
with
So
them.
it so basically happens is your Secure Hub starts on your personal side, and it's trying to create the work profile. So while that process is taking place, that will, of course will have to happen, and then you just you have to, since it's the end user, you want them to select yes, create a work profile. What you're saying is that you should automatically do it without even asking it. I doubt that's going to happen.
No, not all of those, but like some of the prompts where it just ask you to press allow for specific things. The 2-3 screens.
2-3 screens. Okay, we can talk about that. Yeah.
So is the process more streamlined? In other words, not just completely automated. Okay, that we can check for you for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as in the personal profile, they have to ask it. So yeah.
One other question, biometrics. It was mentioned somewhere that is that you can set policies that control which biometrics you're allowed to use. Can you actually control that based on the device model, or is it on the Android version?
Yeah, so if it's on the device model, then it would be based on the OEM APIs that they provide. So there are some Samsung APIs that will be provided on that. But the one that I was showing is a disabled key guard. Yes, you can say, okay, no, you can't unlock with biometrics. And you can set that up. That's a feature that we're working on right now.
I'm thinking facial recognition because of
Yeah.
I know on the Samsung S10, it didn't get to best reviews.
Okay. Yes, you can disable that. Yep.
Allow it on S9, for example.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's the key guard feature that I'm getting that has disabled biometrics, and you can do that. So you can only do it with a pin, for example.
Cool.
Yeah. Or iris or anything else like that. Yeah. Yeah. Mike.
Heavy emphasis on the Citrix workplace. Does that work the same way with Android Enterprise, with the separate applications and whatnot?
So you're talking about Citrix Workspace and Secure Hub. Yeah, so we're working towards that. I mean, that is, again, in the pipeline to have Android Enterprise enabled with Citrix Workspace. So that way it's just one app. That's what you're asking about on the workspace.
Generally, I'm trying to wrap my head around what it would look like, especially since we're supposed to be going to the managed store for Android Enterprise.
Mhm.
Would users then be directed to get their content from workspace instead of the managed place?
So the managed Play Store is where you have to go to get your apps, even with Android Enterprise. You don't, especially I'm talking about Android Enterprise, right? you will either push those apps because you want to silently install them, that's fine. But if they actually want to go and see all the apps that are available to them for either the work profile side or the fully managed side, they would go to the managed Play Store to get that.
Yeah, so I mean, I
Yeah.
can jump
Alex can jump in.
So we have two different things we're working on, right? One is for the corporate owned, fully managed. We're working on that first. So when you enroll in fully managed mode, you have a workspace enabled, environment where you can go through. If you open an app in workspace, it'll still redirect you to the Play Store, just like we do today. There's no difference there.
Yeah.
It's just instead of Secure Hub, it's workspace, your app store, right? Or your Citrix app store, and it'll redirect you to download the app. And then we're also working, work profile mode is a little harder for us because we have to pull in the workspace app into the work profile once that's created. So that's definitely on our roadmap, and we're looking at that as high priority.
Yeah,
That's
and
a lot of work for us right now. So.
yeah, and even for your apps, we prefer that you go through the managed play and get those app approved. So that way, as you saw what happened with the video that I showed you, because that was on through the managed Play Store. That's how you get that screen of approve. If managed Play Store does not know about your app, then, right? Yeah, and they don't want that. Google actually does not want that. They want to, because they run a whole bunch of security things over there. So.
Oh, another question over here?
Yeah, sure.
So for Android Enterprise, I understand we can use Intune man protections on both 365 products, right? Intune man policies?
Intune MAM policies for Android Enterprise?
Yes, for our 365 products that are managed through our Google managed store.
Yeah.
Are you using Intune to manage?
For just for man policies and Citrix?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay,
So
so
you,
how
so
about,
you can use our endpoint management console to manage the Office 365 policies and they get pushed out through,
Intune?
yes.
Yes. How about Chrome?
Managing Chrome through Intune? Not today.
No, how about the man policy? Okay, so here's my confusion. Is Chrome OS considered, are they using mobile app for 365? Or is it using,
Right. So basically, the idea is to push out policies from Intune to a Chrome device that we do not support today. Right. Great question.
I think the question is more around the applications to edit the content.
Right.
So are they, on a Chrome?
Yep.
Would there's no Chrome version of Word, Excel, or PowerPoint.
Right, so they're
You have
just
to use
using
the
the
online
URL.
version.
right?
Or, the experience would not necessarily be the best. You could install the Android versions of those apps. And
Yeah.
those would
Those would-
inherit the command policy.
The MAM policies, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. You're a better listener than I am.
So yeah, those are the reasons two options.
Thanks. Go ahead.
The alpha beta track testing, will you need different bundle IDs for each of the apps, or would you use the same bundle ID for each track?
Same. Yeah, because what happens is, based on the track ID that you put in there, through that JSON, we get the track ID, and then we determine whether it's alpha or beta. So that's it. Yeah. Right. Any more questions? No? So, hey, we have two important sessions coming up. One which is happening in a few minutes, so please go ahead and attend that. That's about Citrix Endpoint Management Tech Update. And right after that, we have another one, which is in Hall C2, which is about endpoint management, cloud, resilient, and secure service. And that's this guy right there, so make sure you go there. All right, with that,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.